Welcome to The Explainer. So today, we are cracking open a massive mystery box. We're looking at a guy who is quite literally defying everything we thought we knew about human biology and sports science. I mean, how on earth is a player at nearly 39 years old still completely dominating the hardest, most grueling, and prestigious soccer tournament on the planet? I'm talking, of course, about Lionel Messi at the 2026 World Cup. We're going to reverse engineer this unprecedented run of dominance and really dig into the exact physical, tactical, and commercial strategies that make all of this possible.
Okay, let's dive into this. 16. Now, this isn't just any random number. This represents his current record-tying World Cup goal tally. Just recently, at exactly 38 years and 357 days old, which is just wild to think about, Messi scored a breathtaking hat-trick against Algeria in Argentina's opening match. And by doing that, he became the oldest player ever to score a World Cup hat-trick, tying Miroslav Klose's legendary all-time goal record. He totally one-upped Kylian Mbappe, who had just scored a brace to reach 14 goals. So it really begs the question, how is he doing this when most players his age have been happily retired for like half a decade?
To figure that out, let's take a quick look at our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start with the 2026 World Cup magic, then we'll decode his longevity formula, trace his tactical evolution from La Masia to Miami, break down the billion-dollar business, and finally, look at his chase for ultimate immortality.
All right, moving right into Section 1, the 2026 World Cup magic, defying age and rewriting history.
You know, what makes this tournament in North America fundamentally different from Messi is the total absence of a burden. For his entire career, he carried this suffocating weight of an Argentine title drought that dated all the way back to Diego Maradona in 1986. But after winning it all in Qatar in 2022, that ghost, it's just gone. He's playing with absolute freedom, zero pressure, and honestly, just pure joy. And because of that, he is actively hunting down history. What's really interesting about this slide is to become the outright, undisputed owner of the most goals, most assists, and most wins in the history of the Men's FIFA World Cup. He doesn't even need a miraculous tournament. He literally needs just one goal, one assist, one single win. He is right on the precipice of completely monopolizing the history books. But obviously, to reach this point, his body had to survive 2 decades of top-flight football.
Which brings us to Section 2, the longevity formula, the physical pillars.
To understand how a 38-year-old moves like a player 10 years younger, we really have to look at his physical evolution. Back in his youth, Messi was all explosive speed and rapid acceleration. He'd just put his head down and blitz right past defenders. But that style is notoriously hard on the human body. Today, he's transitioned to what sports scientists call smart training. He prioritizes functional exercises for core stability and lower body strength. And by building up that strength, he's essentially armor-plating his joints to reduce injury risk. He's traded that raw, chaotic sprinting for calculated movement efficiency, so he doesn't run as much, but when he does, it is devastatingly effective.
But of course, training doesn't mean much without the right fuel and repair. He sticks to a very strict, nutrient-dense Mediterranean diet. We're talking lean proteins, fresh fruits and vegetables, whole grains, healthy fats, all designed specifically to reduce inflammation and support cardiovascular health. But you want another real secret? It's the recovery. At almost 39, recovery is just as absolutely crucial as the exercise itself. Cold water immersion, massage therapy, really strict sleep schedules. It's all that unseen, unglamorous, behind-the-scenes work that allows him to step out onto the pitch and create magic.
Let's move on to Section 3, La Masia to Miami, tactical evolution.
So, physical preservation is really only half the battle. His tactical evolution is equally vital. And this brilliantly illustrates the shift. If you compare his earlier days at Barcelona, you see him just hugging that right wing, basically an isolated, individualistic dribbler looking to take on multiple guys at once. But over time, there's a really clear shift. He moves centrally, dropping deeper into the midfield. And this isn't just about getting more touches on the ball. It's about spatial awareness. By operating in these central pockets, he completely avoids running into dead ends out on the flanks. He conserves his energy, heavily preferring to dictate the flow of the game with a perfectly weighted pass rather than doing a 40-yard sprint.
Now, this evolution definitely didn't happen by accident. As La Masia expert Taher Mortazai explains, instead of just letting a generational talent run wild and do whatever he wanted, his coaches gave him mini challenges. They basically forced him to adapt his raw, head-down talent to serve a broader collective system. They taught him the geometry of the pitch, positional play, the triangles, the pressing. Ultimately, they turned a brilliant soloist into a master conductor.
And that philosophy builds directly into the Inter Miami blueprint, which, by the way, he also perfectly mirrors with the Argentina national team. He operates as a free-roaming number 10, and he's granted incredibly low defensive duties. And why is that? Well, because when his team wins the ball back, he needs to be totally fresh to instantly lead the attacking transition. Instead of those exhausting solo runs, he relies on telepathic triangulations with longtime teammates like Sergio Busquets and Jordi Alba. It really is tactical efficiency at its absolute finest.
All right, moving into Section 4, the billion-dollar business, the commercial empire. Listen, you simply can't talk about modern Lionel Messi without talking about his massive off-pitch gravity. When he moved to MLS, he fundamentally changed the economics of superstar sports transfers forever. Beyond a massive base salary of over $20 million, just consider the other components here. A revenue share of new Apple TV MLS Season Pass subscriptions, a revenue share with Adidas, an option for future franchise ownership. So the crucial point is this: Messi is no longer just an employee playing a sport. He is a full-on stakeholder. His personal financial future is directly tied to the global commercial growth of the entire league. It's a real game changer. And the impact of that was immediate. $1 billion. To put that into perspective, before Messi arrived, Inter Miami's franchise valuation was sitting around $600 million. Thanks to his arrival, the club's valuation skyrocketed past that $1 billion mark. Honestly, that is the sheer commercial power of a single human being. This commercial gravity is even legally codified in international football. Have you ever heard of the Messi clause? Basically, it's a contractual provision used in international friendlies. When Argentina travels to play in cities like Beijing, Jakarta, or Sydney, organizers pay massive, multi-million-dollar appearance fees. But those fees are highly contingent on Messi actually stepping onto the grass. The global sports economics of an entire event literally hinges on his physical participation. If he doesn't play, the commercial value just completely plummets.
Finally, Section 5, Chasing Ultimate Immortality. The final chapter.
We are currently watching the absolute peak intersection of his optimized fitness, his brilliant tactical mind, and his unmatched commercial gravity. His manager, Lionel Scaloni, summed up this final chapter perfectly. He basically pointed out that it's not just about Argentina anymore. The entire world recognizes that this is the final dance. Every touch, every pass, every single goal is a piece of living history. We're watching a once-in-a-lifetime genius squeeze every last drop of magic out of his legendary career. And in the process, he's uniting supporters from every corner of the globe in pure appreciation of the sport.
And that really leaves us with one final, kind of unavoidable thought. What will the landscape of global sports actually look like once this once-in-a-lifetime genius finally hangs up his boots? How do you even begin to replace an athlete who dictates global broadcast deals, shifts billion-dollar valuations, and simultaneously breaks century-old records? It's a massive void that we're all going to have to face very soon. But for now, let's just appreciate the history happening live on the pitch. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer today, and keep your eyes on the game.